A warm good morning to one and all present in this virtual course. Today, it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Amrutavalli, Associate Professor, Department of Microbiology, Acharya Nagarjuna University, Guntur, Andhra Pradesh. Ma'am is an eminent Associate Professor working in Acharya Nagarjuna University, and she has 31 years of teaching experience and 15 years of research experience till date. As a principal investigator and co-principal investigator, she has completed many projects under DST and UGC, and she have 70 strains of microorganisms identified by her exclusively, and she is being maintaining all those strains of microorganisms towards patenting and commercialization in her laboratory. She has received Best Research Award in the year 2016 and 2017. She is also a recipient of Young Scientist Award by ABAP in the year 2014. She has received the Research Achievement Award by Asian PGPR Society in the year 2019. She has guided 8 PhD students so far, and 6 PhD students are under pipeline. And she has visited many countries like Nepal, Vietnam, Tashkent, and Japan. As an invited speaker, she has played a good role in all those countries. And she is a life member in American Society of Microbiology, Asian PGPR Association, Association of Advancement for Pest Management in Horticultural Ecosystem, and Association of Biotechnology and Pharmaceutical. She has hosted a number of national seminars starting from the year 2017, 19, and 2020, for which she has received financial assistance from DST, UGC, ICAR, and APSCHE. She has published more than 85 international research papers and attended 115 national and international conferences as resource person. And she has also written 5 book chapters in the field of PGPR and ISR. She is also serving as an editorial board member and reviewer to peer-reviewed national and international journals. And we are very glad to have such an eminent personality from Acharya Nagarjuna University. Ma'am, we welcome you on behalf of virtual course for 21 days on research methodology on behalf of Department of Biotechnology, K.S. Rangasamy College of Technology, and Nature Science Foundation. Welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Maithili. I am ready.
Okay, ma'am. Just a second, ma'am. We will share your PPT.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Can you see the PPT on the screen, ma'am?
Yes, I have. I see.
Yes, ma'am. The platform is yours right now. You can start the presentation, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, good morning to everybody. My heartful acknowledgements to the organizers, K.S. Rangasamy College of Technology, in particular Department of Biotechnology and National Science Society. I am very happy to be here part with you. Good morning to all audience. Dear audience, basically I am a teacher, dear to me as a researcher. A warm welcome to the webinar. Hope it will be useful to you in your future endeavors for getting good financial assistance from different funding agencies. Maithili, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Audible. Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Yes, sir. Okay. So, as of my interest, I choose this topic, how to write project proposals, because of my long-standing experience in sending the proposals, in particular to my lab and in particular to the university. I know what are the teething problems and what are the biting problems. So, we will start our program. Maithili, it is not giving PowerPoint. Maithili, the PowerPoint next slide has not. It is not showing.
Okay,
Yes.
If you say next, we will switch over to the next thing, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Seconds.
Next slide. I can. Are you operating? Me want to operate the
No,
program.
ma'am, we will operate from this end. You just say next one. That is enough,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So I start my talk on writing a research proposal. Writing successful research proposal is a long process. It is a long process. It begins with an idea. The idea is not a broad idea. The idea has its own boundary. The idea should be limited to the research what you are doing and the research how it is going to be, the already done research how it is going to give new avenues to further program, how it is going to answer the filling the gaps. So here the researchers should not have a scope for a fancy idea, for an ambitious idea. So the getting idea has a boundary of your research interest and your research experience and your publications. So encashing the idea is a grant proposal. How to get grant? Idea to proposal grant basically depends on idea. Next, basically depends on three aspects. The number one is audience, number two is style, number three is white paper. Audience, style and white paper. Audience means here the reviewers who are going to review our project proposal is the audience. So here these three should be in mind after getting an idea. How I am going to convince my audience, how I have to express my tone and my style of writing, and then what paper, white paper. What is a white paper? You let you know in the second coming slide. Next slide. Maitri, next
Ma'am,
slide.
your sound is not clear. Hello, ma'am.
Yeah. So
Your sound is not clear.
audience means the peer reviewers of your proposal are audience. You are the, here I put a cartoon, you are the researcher who proposed a grant. If your idea is inside the box and you thought that the reviewer has to see it outside of the box, it is impossible to get the grant. Always you have to open the box and you need to push up your ideas to the peer reviewers. Academic reviewers with knowledge of discipline program areas of the grant are the audience. Remember here, the academic reviewers are the experts of your subject area. They are also like your colleagues with more experience. Their experience make you to get good project proposal. So think that you should be fixed in your eye, even in your mind. They are extra human or they are not super gods. They are like you, they come to this stage after their vast experience and getting good proposals. And at the same time, you remember that audience the peer review members are knowing the knowledge. While writing your grant proposal, you assume that you are addressing your colleague who is knowledgeable in the general area of your idea. But keep in mind, they may not know about your idea because your idea is a novel idea which was generated in your brain. They may not know about how you are going to execute this idea. Here you should have lot of homework how to execute our idea. The peer review members necessarily know the details about your research questions. They may not know the answers to your questions, but they can give the validity to your questions how to get the answer. Remember that most readers are lazy. As we are all teachers, I hope all the group here is a teacher community who are having vast experiences. While we are correcting our answer sheets of our students, we feel that the legible answer sheets we correct fast, we will get more impression and give more marks. Because all the time the readers are lazy. They will not respond to the poorly organized, poorly written and confusing proposal. Here clearly indicates poorly organized, poorly written or confusing proposal. Means your proposal should be well organized. Your proposal should have a well style of writing. Your proposal should give a clear idea without any confusion. Be sure to give readers what they want. You have to assess the brain of the readers who are working in this particular area. Follow the guidelines of particular funding agency. Each funding agency has its own guidelines. In sciences, we have different funding agencies, right from ICAR, DST, DBT, previously UGC, now RUSA. Apart from that, so many ministries, Ministry of Forest and Environment, Ministry of Ayush, and other Ministry of Social Sciences, Rural Development, they all have lot of funds to give to serve the nation with good ideas. But unfortunately, the funding has not been properly distributed because not having good ideas to execute the thought in the form of a research proposal. Second slide, next slide. Next slide. So, all the time you just have in your mind, the reviewers read with 3 questions in mind. All the time, each research project has 3 review members. The peer review members are 3 in number. They have fixed questions in their mind. While reading your proposal, they will get a question. What are we going to learn as a result of this proposal? What are we going to learn as a result of this proposed project? Means, what is the goal of this project? What is the aim behind to execute the work? What are the deliverable outcomes? These 3 are interconnected. The goals should be useful not only to the researcher as a principal investigator, but also to the institute as well to the society. Nowadays, all funding agents are seeking for societal awareness programs more, right from the sciences to social sciences. So here, in your project, these 3 are very important. The underlined 3 words are very important. So first you fix your mind how to answer this first question of the reviewer. What are they are going to learn from my proposal? What is the novelty? Why is it worth knowing? How it is different from already known? Why it is, what is the not already? Why it is in the means, what is the significance? Remember that each project has its own significance in delivering the goods, in executing the methodology. Sometimes a good methodology may be derived by not getting good deliverables. How we will know what the conclusion are valid? Means, what is the criteria of success? How far if we give the fund, how far it is going to be successful? How far it is going to be finished in a stipulated time? These are the 3 questions all the time churned in the reviewer's mind. If our project fulfills these questions in convincing answers, you are sure to get your grant. Next slide. Next slide. So then come to the slide. Here, the writer is you, the principal investigator. The reader is the reviewer. You have something in your mind, that is your tone. How do the reviewer realize your tone? The only tool is style of writing. You need not directly report the idea to the reviewer. Your paper has to reveal, your paper has to explain how you are going to execute your novel idea, how you are going to give some solution to the gaps which are there in the knowledge. So here the style, mood and tone, at the same time, it depends upon the mood of the reviewer. So the mood of the reviewer is all the time elevated with a beautiful style of writing, with a precise writing. The way you write your grant will tell the reviewers a lot about you. Tell me your handwriting, show me your handwriting, I will tell what you are. Because the writing gives 40% of impression, what is the personality behind your brain, what you are. Are you, by reading that, definitely the reviewer get an idea. This writer, this principal investigator is a scholar or researcher or a person of social interest from a NGO organization. The tone varies. As a scholar, you want to write some research proposal for getting some fund from fellowship, the tone is different. As a researcher, you want to get some financial funding to execute your research, the tone is different. For NGO organizations, the tone is different. The tone decides who you are. At the same time, your style of writing this gives the idea, are you creative? Are you logical? Are you analytical? Are you up-to-date relevant literature and in the field? And most important, capable of executing the project? It is called samardhata. Are you capable to do the project? So here, certain words, they should be there in your mind before you start writing the proposal. The proposal should be creative. Creative means it should not be fancy. It is not going to give a step into the Mars. It should be creative and it should be novel than the what already work has done in the same field by other researchers. It should be different from that. Logical. It should convince you at the same time the reviewer, at the same time to the variable what you are using. And analytical. With an up-to-date relevant information. You are not supposed to do the research which was already done 2-3 decades back, and by not knowing what will happen for these 3 decades, you cannot take the literature from 3 decades back literature and you want to do something. It might be answered so many questions in the meanwhile intermediate decades. So up-to-date relevant literature. The relevant literature means the literature which is useful for the field what you selected for writing the proposal. The specialization what you select for your proposal. Most importantly, capable of executing the proposal project. The way you exhibit your tone in your style, that shows your capability, how you are going to execute this. Allow your discipline and its conventions determine the general style of your writing. Means, if it is a science principal investigator from the science block, biological sciences, there are certain limitations in this particular disciplines to use certain words. If it is in the literature and arts, they have no boundary of limitation of words. So the discipline, the branch in which you are doing the research, what are the conventions that particular branch is having? The convention is very important. In mathematics, there are so many conventions. They have to follow that convention of biology, the convention of physics, the convention of chemistry, the convention of commerce. Each discipline has its own convention. You should have in your mind, you should not go away from your discipline and its conventions in your general style of writing. Being a biologist, I am not supposed to write my proposal like a Tolstoy poem, like a Wordsworth poem. I should write my proposal like a biologist. An English literature fellow should not write his proposal like a biologist with determinants, variables, units, etc. He should have his poetic convention. It all matters in the style. All your own voice and personality to come through. Be sure to clarify your project theoretical orientation. Your proposal objective should have the theoretical base. Means this is the limitation of writing a research proposal. In the first slide, I said that your idea should not exceed your theoretical orientation. It should be inside the theoretical orientation because you are expert in that particular discipline. I am not supposed to do something research on astrophysics because my theoretical orientation is purely on biological sciences. So this is what I should do. I should frame my idea in this with this particular points to keep in our mind. We should write our project. Next slide. Next slide. So white paper means a general proposal and budget. You need not wait for a proposal call for writing the proposal. The churning ideas in your brain, in your discipline, you can write your own general proposal at any point of time. You can assume yourself how much budget it requires. You prepare your draft copy ready for the opportunity striking. That is called white paper. Nowadays, most of the researchers, they write their proposal soon after the call for proposal from DBT or DST. That is not the idea. The first of all, it requires nearly 6 months of homework for the idea to get into the proposal. The hard copy of your idea into a proposal is called white paper. Without any specification of the funding agency, without any pro forma, what is the approximate budget and what is the general proposal you have, that is called white paper. Most proposal writers seeking funding from several different agencies and granting programs. It is a good idea to begin by developing a general grant proposal and budget well advanced. Suppose I give an example here. I want to explore what are pathogenic gut microflora. Gut microflora means our digestive microflora or pathogenic microflora. Screening of microflora is one aspect. What are the pathogenic genes in microflora is another aspect. Means my idea has two parts. I have an opening for proposing two proposals to the single idea to two different funding agencies. I can propose my first idea to DST, the screening of uropathogens. I can propose my second idea to DBT because I want to explore the gene. I have scope to get more fund from the DBT. Like that, every discipline is having its own funding agencies. There you can have the chance to get more than one grant for a single idea with the style of your writing and your white paper. Before you submit proposal to different grant programs, you have to thoroughly follow what are the rules and guidelines given by that particular funding agency. Certain projects may give equipment, some may not give equipment. Some projects give provision for research scholars, human resource, and some may not give human resource priority. Some may have the travel grant, some may not have the travel grant. Here, my humble suggestion, while you are applying for a grant, your grant should be very subtle and moderate. I want to go to Chennai to explore some of the microorganisms. I want air flight is not moderate. From my place to Chennai, it is less than 300 kilometers. There you need not apply for air travel. You can apply for a land transport. This type of things also very important while getting a successful grant from different organizations. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, you stop there. I will tell you. You one by one you have to click, Amma. It is a animation. One by one you have to click. So no, don't show all the things. Okay. So idea to proposal. We thought that it is a linear process. Realize it is a long-standing process because you want to execute your idea as a proposal. You need to have a vast research experience in that particular period with handsome publications, very good publications, very good outcome for a minimum of 5 years or 3 years. While doing that, a thorough reviewing, you get so many new ideas. These ideas framing into, with your research experience of our publications, you have to framing into proposal. It is a linear process. We thought it is a linear process. Next, click. But this proposal needs identify need and focus. Your idea, how far it is useful, how it is going to focus the society, what is the need of the hour, how it is going to focus some of the problems. This is the first aspect. Next. Next. So find prospective grants. If you are doing with some rural development, human resource from the rural development, you have to approach Ministry of Rural Development. You want to do some social research, you have to go for ISSR grants. If you are a mathematics and statistics, you have so many statistics and mathematics funding agencies. Being a biologist, I am proud to say biologists have more avenues to get more funding agencies. Ayush, Minister of Science and Technology, Minister of Marine Sciences, Minister of Agriculture, we have. So find prospective grants. Which finding financial group is going to give good fund? Where my idea is going to be fit? These two things you have to be in your mind. Next. Next. Develop a general proposal and budget. I already told you this is the white paper. Next. Next. Submit the letter of inquiry. Nowadays, previously there is no letter of inquiry. Nowadays, all funding agencies, they are giving first, they call for proposal with LOI or LOE, letter of inquiry. They will give certain themes. Nearly each organization, each funding agency have minimum of 4 themes or maximum of 10 themes. Since you find a prospective grant through your, by searching the prospective grants, you search for the grant, really letter of intent, you submit a letter of inquiry to the particular granting agency, grant agency. Next. Letter of inquiry is not a full proposal. It is not the white paper. It is the summary of your white paper, where your tone and style is very important. It should be very transparent. It should be very concise. After thorough verification of your LOI or LOE, letter of intent or letter of inquiry, if they satisfy, they will call you. You will receive a request for formal application, full proposal. Next. So now, as per the specifications given in the full proposal, you should prepare your specific proposal. Here you need to follow all the guidelines. What are the priorities of that particular funding agency? Here you don't have the choice. You have to fit in your white paper in this fixed frame of that particular funding agency. Next. Next. So, deadline. You have to submit your paper before deadline. Means, generally the proposal, LOA or for received, they give approximately 45 days to 2 months. So, you should have your own planner before deadline. At least 5 days before the deadline, you have to submit your project. This is the first part. It is not linear. This is the first part of our idea to proposal submission before deadline. Next. Then the reviewers open up your proposal and they review. It may sometimes some organizations they will do yearly twice. Some organizations they will do every quarterly. It depends upon the type of the agency which is going to give fund the proposal. Means that unlike the results we get after 30 days of our examination, we don't get the result after submission of our project. You have to wait till the proposal has to be thoroughly reviewed. At this time, we don't get any information from any funding agency while the process of reviewing is going. Next. If your proposal is fruitful, if your proposal is legitimate, if the peer reviewers are well satisfied, you will receive the award letter for executing your project. Next. Negotiable multiple awards. As I told you in previous slide, after you receiving your award, you can negotiate. You have two different objectives. One objective you will get fund from the particular A agency, and the B can get funding from B agency. You can negotiate freely. The peer reviewers or the funding agencies are very friendly. They will answer you at any point of time. If your request is within the framework of their rules and regulations, you can negotiable multiple awards also. Because all this it takes another 4 months or 5 months. Meanwhile, another proposal may come into another LOI may be notified from other funding agency. You can send the project, not the same project. You can send the extension of this project to that. That you have to negotiate here before you after receiving the award letter. Next. Next. So, after negotiation, after thorough convincing of your proposal, you will get the acceptance letter, a decision award. Decision award. Next. Carry out the project. You will get money after receiving your decision award. You will get your fund from your employer. If you are in university, you will register. You will get your funding from registrar. If you are in degree colleges, you have some regional joint directors also. If you are in national institutes, the directors will execute the money to you to carry out the project. as per the norms given by the funding agency. Next. So we thought that getting acceptance and getting funding to execute the project is end of the proposal. It is not true, because for receiving one grant from one funding agency is not the end of your research career. It is not the end of your research career. Actually, it is the starting stone of your research career. So after completing your project in a stipulated time, periodically, as per the norms given by the financial agencies, you prepare your report, file report with the funding agencies with high transparency and in a stipulated time. Next. So to the, so what it indicates, hypothetically idea to proposal is linear, but practically it is not linear. This diagram clearly gives grant writing process is a circular process. If the funding agency is totally satisfied with your first project, they are ready to give the next project, the extension of your idea into new focus. So this is an overview of the grant writing process. Next. Next slide. So what is a research proposal? Now the actual game starts now. What is a research proposal? How to write? What you will do in research proposal? Next. The first part of the research proposal is a detailed description. Next. Summary of information. This is part 1 and this is part 2. This first comes. First you have to write a detailed description. As your research paper, you have to write a complete proposal. Like the abstract of the research paper, you have to make a summary of information. The detailed description, what all the aspects covered in detailed description should be reflected in the summary of information in a concise and clear form. Next. Objective of proposal. So this is the backbone of proposal. What is your objective? The objective means the smartness of your brain reflects in the objective. Before writing the objective, you should frame some questions in your mind. After getting a fruitful answer for that question, then only put it on paper. The first question is what you will do. Are you doing the work which is a continuation of your previous research? Are you challenging the gap that was already existing in the previous research with your research experience? What you will do? That's the first question. Next. Why it should be done? Because simply I like that I am doing is not the matter in getting a good proposal grant. Why it should be done? How it is going to be useful? Next. How you will do it? What is your plan of action to execute your objectives? Next. What are the results you are expecting? So what are the results you are expecting? Totally depends upon your research expertise. Totally depends on your research expertise. All the time the results may not be positive what you expect, sometimes negative. For example, turmeric project is one of the greatest project in India. We all know that curcumin is one of the wonderful alkaloid. It is a gold, medicinal gold. With the expectation, we try to extract curcumin from turmeric. After crores of investment, the ultimate result is in extracted from the curcumin lost its biological activities, lost its medical activities. That is also a research. Not getting the expected outcome is also a research. You can give a pavement, you can give a path to future researchers to blindly believe on the thing to be positive. The further researchers may stop there. Oh, already there are reports that curcumin and the extracted from does not have any medical impact. So they need not touch that. So there is no wastage of money from the funding agencies. These things you should remember. These things are the questions in the reviewer's mind. This is called reading frame of the reviewer mind through the objective proposal questions. So the first question you have to answer yourself is what you will do, why it should be done, how you will do, why, what you expect results. Because my guide told I am doing is not the matter. Giving advice is very easy, executing is very difficult. You should remember before writing the objective of the proposal. Next slide. Next slide. So now organizing the research proposal, it has 13 points. The first one is the title, second one is abstract, third one is introduction, fourth one is review of literature, fifth one is aims, objective, hypothesis, methodology, bibliography, timeline, budget, grant chart, and annexures. So my suggestion to you all, those who are interested to write a good proposal, while you are preparing your white paper, you should keep in your mind all these 13 headings. You get ready with your white paper with these 13 headings. Let us discuss one by one. Next slide. The title. Next. The title should be concise and catchy. You open the entire slide, Amma. Slide. There are three bullets there. Please, can you open all three bullets? Yes, okay. So that I can save the time. So concise and catchy title. Somebody, a history researcher, he wanted to know what are the what we call the historical literature on the walls of the temple. For that, he wants some grant. He may write a title, Exploring the Literature in the Temples of Brihadishwara Temple lied in the Tanjavur, Tamil Nadu, India. That is not a concise title. That is not catchy. Because the reviewers are very lazy, they are not impressed with it. It should be catchy. I give a simple catchy example for that. Though I am not a history, I am not well versed with the arts and science. I am a biology teacher. I am a biology researcher. But I give literature, dynastic literature of Brihadishwara hitherto unknown. Hitherto unknown is a wonderful catchy word. So something is there in there. Like that, while you are doing your science people, they know very well how to give a concise and catchy research. Here in your title, there are two variables. One is dependent variable, another one is independent variable. For explaining these two dependent independent variable, I give the example of a pharmaceutical project. So the dependent variable and independent variable. The dependent variable means I give my research project example. We have done anti-arthritic drugs from Nictanthus, Parijatam. So anti-arthritic drug is a dependent variable. What are the drugs derived from that anti-arthritic plant is independent variable. So your title should have these two parts. What is the dependent variable? What is the independent variable? In one project, how aspirin is going to control myocardial infarction is a project. You want to do something extra. So here the myocardial infarction aspirin. So independent here the dependent variable is aspirin. Independent variable you want to explore what are the environmental impact of the drug aspirin to work on myocardial infarction. That is novelty in your idea. The title should clearly give the importance of dependent variable as well as independent variable. The next thing is keywords. If some microbiology project come to me for reviewing, first of all I see the title. Is it project proposal is in the discipline of microbiology or not? Is it this is in the discipline of agriculture or not? Your title will give two markers of keywords which will be appropriately fixed to the discipline of the reviewer. You want to do some good plant growth promotion from bacillus. Which bacillus you are using? Is it the soil bacillus? Is it the endophytic bacillus? Or is it from marine bacillus? The marine bacillus is a keyword. Rhizosphere bacillus is a keyword. Plant growth promotion is a keyword. So this type of keywords give good scope for, because the first impression is the title here. Next, the very important thing is the population and the universe. It is more applicable to social science research proposals. So where do you want? Marine bacillus. I want to explore marine bacillus of entire universe? No. What is my limitation? How far I can go to the coast? I can consent to my level best to coastal region of Andhra Pradesh. That is my size. I can extend to the mangrove estuary of Nijampatnam. Mangrove estuary is my population. That is my population size. If somebody wants to know malnutrition children, their health aspects of project, how many malnutrition people you have to explore? Here you decide your population. How many slums you are going to explore? What is your area of research? Where you can easily go. It is not that I want to do research on aquatic microorganisms in Thar Estuary of Rajasthan, Thar Desert of Rajasthan. Is it possible? How can I get aquatic microorganisms in Thar Desert? It means your idea, the area at which you are doing, that is called habit and habitat, is nothing but population universe that have to be decided. That have to be reflected in your title. And the title should be very catchy and it should be concise. Next slide. Next slide. Abstract. Here, the abstract is very important. That is called summary. the abstract is the first impression of your proposal. Already I told you. The abstract is like that. Seeing a bride in the first marriage looks, recollecting the bride face at the time of marriage. I think you all understand. Seeing a girl at the marriage looks and recollecting the face of the bride at the time of marriage. Abstract is like that. By seeing your abstract, the reviewer should recollect in his mind. So I came across one of the beautiful abstract, which is going to be like this in final recommendations. It reminds your proposal. The glance of the reviewers, your abstract when making their final recommendations, it should be in their vicinity, it should be in their glance. Means the abstract should be very, very, very precise, and it should have its own, it should reflect your tone and style. This is the first impression. At the same time, it is the last impression of the project. By seeing the abstract, most of the 90% of the project proposals have to be finalized for grant approval or not. So, to my experience, I come across so many young scientists who are applying for research proposal. The abstract is their least preference. So one has to get the practice of writing the abstract minimum of 3 to 4 times and convincing yourself by putting all your questions in your mind, then only you will write the abstract. So most of the time, the abstract should be in a future tense. Quite often we Indians, especially the South Indians, we used to have tendency of using past tense, but the abstract should be future tense because the abstract of the research paper is in past tense and the abstract of the proposal is in future tense. Their majority of the abstracts are discarded while peer reviewing of the research proposal. Most abstract, it should not state the general purpose. Generally people require vitamin B, so we are doing research on vitamin B. This is a general purpose. Specific goal. Because I am very much interested to do research on neomycin, I want to do research. This is not a real good abstract. The research. It should have a specific goal. It should give answer to general society. It should have a good research design, methods, significance, contribution, and rationale. The rationale is very important in writing the abstract. All the time, the objective should start with 2. To develop a new drug, which works on myocardial infarction under any temperature of the patient, body temperature of the patient, is objective. So it starts with 2. So that gives a catchy objective. Next slide. Then come to the introduction. Generally, the general proposal is having 10 pages of document. The introduction should not exceed maximum of 1,000 words. You need not give so much introduction to that. The introduction clearly gives the topic area, research question, key elements of your proposal, statement of the problem, purpose of research, research goals or objectives, significance of the research, your knowledge. So what is the topic area? So how many people have done on this? What is the topic area? In the topic area, what is your research question? Where are some gaps? How do you want to fill that gaps? How do you give new design to that already known thing? These are all the research questions. Key elements of your proposal. What is the key point? How you are going to hand over this problem to your hand for getting the fund. That's the key element. It is very important. Statement of the problem. Why this problem is? How many are affecting? What are the pros and cons of the problem? What is the purpose of this research? What are your research goals or objectives? how it is going to signify the future research, how it is going to add knowledge to the knowledge bank. These are all the things. I give an example. When I had been to Japan, I visited a scientist lab, Shimakura. Simply, he take out a small instrument from his pocket and show me. Dr. Amrita, you know what is this? That was glycometer. Means that was the instrument is there, that was a small tool is there in our house, every house, to know the blood sugar. That was invented by the guide of Shimakura. That is adding knowledge as a necessary tool to everybody. The research should be like that. That is the significance. Next slide. So come to the review. This is review. Review is a very tough job to all researchers, young researchers who are seeking for grant. Literature review does not mean what all the literature available in the data bank. It does not mean you need not review. Review want to know whether you have done necessary preliminary research to undertake your project. So the reviewer should understand, oh, he has some knowledge. Fortunately, if somebody is doing with endophytic microflora, if there's somebody submitted a project on endophytic microflora, endophytic bacillus, if that project comes to me as a reviewer, I search for my paper. Because I am authority in endophytic bacteria. Does this fellow quote my paper, endophytic bacillus, which is having plant growth promotion? So the review of literature, you need to explore who are the eminent researchers in that particular field in this decade. The old literature need not. It gives the impression that how much homework you have done in that particular problem. It gives the impression to the reviewer, your hardship and your industry. So it is necessary preliminary research to undertake this project. It should be selective, critical, and not exhaustive. You should get selective literature and critical literature. It need not be exhaustive review articles. So review of literature should reflect how we are going to evaluate the pertinent work. Suppose some X is doing work on endophytic bacteria. He thoroughly reviewed my articles. He may said that Amrita et al. Have forgotten the biomass production under the particular conditions. Unless we know the biomass quantity, how can you predict it is going to enhance the biomass of the crop? That may be the gap in my research. The one who is doing the research in the same field, this is called pertinent work. You have to evaluate yourself as a principal investigator. How we are going to evaluate that pertinent work, what is there in the earlier researcher, reviewer. That is very important. That is the backbone of your review of literature. The next slide. I think the next slide is a continuation. You display the entire slide, Amma. Review of literature, you should remember 5 principles, Pancha Sutra. While you are writing review of literature, you should remember Pancha Sutra. Dear audience, try to note down this. If the organizers give you that PowerPoint presentation, fine. Otherwise, you note down this. This Pancha Sutra, your review of literature, the first para should have what is already known about the topic. Need not report every published study. You should report this publication where your study is there. where your idea is there, where you want to do the pertinent work. You need not report every published study. The third sutra is choose the study more relevant and most important. You need not beat around the bush. You should strike the bush, the point where you want. This is the third sutra while writing the review of literature. So I repeat again, the first sutra is the first pair of review of literature is what is already known in the particular topic. Need not report every published study. Choose the study most relevant and most important. It should not be summary. Some X has done work on this chili plant. Some Y has done work on this chili plant at some place. This is the summary. No. Your review of literature should be argument. When X was doing this research, he got this conclusion, while Y was doing, this conclusion was not repeated. Some differences are there or some additions are there. Like that, your review of literature should be in an argument. It should not be a summary. Here, most of them do mistake. It should convince the reader. So, convincing the reader is the reviewer. You should convince that your review of literature could convince in realizing what is the significant important research area. Now, in present scenario, the significant importance of research area is how to control COVID-19. What is the vaccine of COVID-19? If it is agricultural, how to improve the yield. If it is a rural development region, how to get new nutraceuticals for malnutrition students. Like that, based upon the funding agency, based upon the call of the proposal, the significant importance of research should be convinced by the reviewer in your review of literature. Certainly, it should illustrate the gap in existing literature. Already existing literature has certain gaps. My proposal is going to fill that gap to certain extent or to whole extent. No research proposal completely fill the gaps. Research is a continuous process done by so many people in so many areas in different contemporary periods. So don't be ambitious while you want to fill the gap. You should be humble. You should write the gap in your reachable to your laboratory, to your brain and to your manpower. This is another important. Your proposal fills some important interesting gaps. Limitations and deficiencies. What are the limitations of particular existing research and how you are going to rectify? What are the deficiencies in the existing research? How you are going to fulfill the deficiencies? The next point is explain and justify your hypothesis. First, you start your hypothetically. If X has done like that, if I would have been done this, the result like this. This is called hypothesis. If X has done like this, if I would have done like this with my protocol, the result will be like this. This is called hypothesis. I think I can clearly emphasize what is hypothesis. Hypothesis is nothing but idea. That is called idea. Good idea comes only after thorough literature survey, thorough reading of the literature. At the same time, your research methods. What are the research methods already practiced for getting these existing research? Is there any scope for lessening the steps? Is there any scope for shortening the steps? Is there any scope for getting the result without these steps? These things are called methodology. For that also, one researcher should have the thorough knowledge of the existing knowledge in his particular field. Next slide. You should remember this Panchasutra, review of literature. This Panchasutra, I think this will be useful for you to get a good grant. Come to the aim. So what is the aim of your report? The fifth part of your overall view is aim. What of the research? Aim means what of the research? Enduk chestunnanu? Why I am doing this research? Because I need to have some passing time I am doing research? No. That is not the answer. Because I have some stuff in my research career, I want to give some good information, a novel idea to the future researchers, or I want to fill the gap. What of the research? That's the aim. What you hope to do? I need not explain this sentence. What you hope to do? What is your own intention? What you want to know by doing this research? At the same time, it should be broad. It should be broad. Because I give you an example why it should be broad. If someone proposed a project, I want to do the research on Escherichia coli particular strain. Escherichia coli particular strain which is causing blood hemorrhage in RBC. That's called narrow research. By seeing the literature, some E. coli blah blah blah, the particular strain of blah blah, I want to study the blood hemorrhage caused by this particular strain in the particular RBC. That is a narrow. No funding agency give, because if you don't get that strain, that research won't continue. For that such kind of researchers need not to promoted by any funding agency. The broad means exploration of different strains of E. coli which are causing blood hemorrhage, RBC hemorrhage. So here there is a scope. If one strain is missed, the other strain may have the effect. Some research output will come to the funding agencies. Some additional knowledge will be added to the existing knowledge. So your aim should be broad. It should not be narrow. Next slide. So as I already told you, objectives. Again, objectives are having the Panchasutra. First of all, the reviewers see your project. The first glance go to abstract. The second glance go to objective. The third glance go to budget. Budget. Like eyes, heart, and health. Abstract, objectives, and budget. The objective should be smart. It should be very smart. A smart object is always flourish. Smart means it should be specific. It should be measurable. It should be attainable. It should be relevant. It should be time bound. It should be time bound. I have very smart objectives. I will complete within 20 years or 30 years, not the time bound. The answer should come maximum of 5 years, the minimum of 18 months. So your objective should be smart, means they should be specific. The specific object, it should not be general object. It should be measurable, it should be reachable, it should not be hypothetical. Attainable, it should be attainable. It should be relevant to the present scenario. And it should be time bound. So this is a objective Panchasutra. The smart is the objective Panchasutra. Next slide. So again the objective, like the review of literature, the objective has Panchasutras. Objective means how the goals have to be achieved. What is the research I want to do is aim. How I reach the goal, how do I achieve the goal. The objective should be logical and coherent. It should be logical and coherent. It should be feasible. It should be realistic, considering the local conditions. I want to do research on apple in Andhra Pradesh. It is unrealistic. I want to research on whales in Andhra Pradesh. Unrealistic. I don't get whales to do research. The research should be realistic. It should not be highly ambitious. It should be very subtle and humble. It's called realistic considering and local conditions. It should define the operational terms and measurables. How we are going to operate the project, how you are going to measure your outcome, it should be clearly defined. Phrased to clearly meet the purpose of the research. What is the purpose of research? It should be a value addition to the society, or it will be value addition to the knowledge. It is going to lessen the farmer's problem. It is going to minimize the cost. It should be cost effective. These are all the phrases need to be have there in your objectives. Next slide. So come to the hypothesis. Hypothesis is nothing but idea, dear friends. Hypothesis is nothing but idea. It is nothing but a prediction, but involves more than a guess. So you should clearly understand what is a prediction, what is a guess. If a new movie is coming, we predict that, oh, this movie is a very high budget movie, definitely it is going to be successful. That is called prediction. In this movie, that particular fellow will get Oscar award. That is a guess. Because you are not competent enough to give the award, but you are enough to predict. So you should remember the difference between the prediction and the guess. Most of the time, hypothesis begins with a question, which is then explored to background research. So your hypothesis should begin with a question. It is only at this point the researcher begin to develop testable hypothesis. Is this hypothesis feasible to me or not? I already said smart, affordable. That will reflect in your hypothesis. Unless you are creating an exploratory study, your hypothesis is always in what you expect to happen. You should explore. You should explore what are the gaps in the existing research. All the time, a small suggestion and a small hint to you, all researchers, while you are serving for your review of literature, each research paper will have a hypothesis at the end of the paper. In the conclusion, each researcher will give a hypothesis. The paper starts with aim and it gives a hypothesis. So while you are searching for the review of literature, you can collect all the hypotheses by eminent experts of your subject area, and by thorough exploration, you will get a good hypothesis. When you're trying to come up with a good hypothesis for your own research experiment, you should have some questions in your brain. The first question is your hypothesis based on your research on topic? You have research on cancer, you want to do research on agriculture. Vice versa. It is not a good hypothesis. Your background of research is cancer, you do research in cancer. Your hypothesis should be in cancer. If you are in agriculture, you are a commerce fellow, your hypothesis should be in your field of specialization. That's the first question. You should question yourself to your mind. Can your hypothesis be tested? So I have this hypothesis. Is it measurable? Is it possible to test hypothesis? Another question. Do hypothesis include independent and dependent variables? No project can be measurable without having dependent and independent variables. That's a thumb rule. You should have a dependent variable and independent variable. The research is with comparison with some other thing. I think for statistics and mathematics people, I need not explain much about this independent and dependent variables. Next slide. Come to the methodology. Already I have given a precise idea. Methodology should be novel. What is the existing methodology? While you are writing a proposal, you should have a pictorial diagram. You should have a cartoon of your idea, methodology, how you are going to execute your experiment like this. Here, I have given my own project methodology. So my primary aim, how I am going to do my primary aim, what is the first step of the primary aim, what are the next leading steps to my primary aim, what are the penultimate steps of my primary aim, what are the ultimate methodologies I am going to execute from my primary aim to get the deliverable outcome. This decides the deliverable outcome. This satisfies the hypothesis. Your hypothesis will be satisfied by this methodology, and your deliverable outcome will be satisfied by this part. While you are writing your methodology, I think I kept my slide for which I got 13 lakhs project from UGC for my research. So primary idea, from the primary idea to screening, the first step of methodology, what I am going to execute, then the methodology, which is going to give answer to my hypothesis, and the methodology, which is going to give the deliverable outcomes, what I expected. This is how the methodology has to be represented now. So that already I told you the reviewers are very lazy. They can have very smooth breath. They can have very easy breath to clearly understand. Automatically it gives into that you have done enough homework while you are preparing your white paper. What is your white paper? General proposal and budget prepared yourself with your own brain before submitting to the funding agency. Next slide. So, the second aim, because every project is having a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 3 objectives. My second aim, again, what is the methodology to fulfill my second aim? How the hypothesis of my second objective, this is the methodology. How it is going to give the deliverable outcome. This is the ultimate methodology. This is a penultimate methodology. This is execution of screening methodology. This is how I have given two parts. The entire methodology, what I have done in my 10 years of research, I have given in 2 flowcharts. So this type of representation of methodology all the time gives a fruitful result, a good fund from the granting agency. Next slide. Yeah, this is another type of pictorial diagram. Most of the biotechnology and microbiology people are here, and this is how you can give the pictorial. This methodology clearly indicates your population size, your dependent variable and independent variable, your population size, your dependent variable, independent variable, how you are going to screen them, what are the instruments you are used. Here it is having a PCR and all the things. What are the instruments you have used? What are the databases you have searched for that? How you are going to get your results? All this is given. This is another type of giving methodology diagram, especially to the advanced biological sciences. Those who deal with advanced instruments like NMR, MALDI-TOF, real-time PCR, etc., etc. So this is another type of diagram which represents the pictorial methodology, which clearly gives an idea to the reviewer how we are going to execute with less time. If the reviewer feels free, your project will be approved. So you should keep in your mind that the reviewer should be happy while reading your project. Then come to the bibliography. What all the things what you have searched for? It is called bibliography or reference. So you have another thing I want to tell you, particularly in most of the rejected projects, the major problem is they are incorporating references in hypothesis, they are incorporating references in deliverable outcomes, they are incorporating references in how you are going to execute your methodology. Include a separate reference page detailing references you have used. Identify the problem. So you confine your bibliography only to the introduction review of literature. Actually speaking, there is no need of references in introduction also. The review of literature is there because it is a general research proposal to a funding agency. You give numbers. bibliography in the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 like that, and the same number answer. You need not go for alphabetical order. This is a justifiable form of bibliography used for research proposal writing. Next. I am going to finish fast, ma. Next slide. Timeline. It is very important. Timeline. It explains how much time you are going to summarize your project. Next slide. Explain in the code. Yes. Hello. Next slide. Yeah. Here also I am doing two timelines. If your project is with a single principal investigator, you can have the timeline like this. This is the first aim, second aim, third aim, fourth aim. How many months you take for this? What are you going to do in the first of the aim, second aim, third aim, fourth aim? These are nothing but objectives. So you can clearly describe here what is your objective 1, how much time it takes. What is your objective 2, how much time does it take. Third objective, how much time. This is a type of timeline diagram. This is more appreciable by all funding agencies if you are a single principal investigator and one co-investigator is there. Sometimes there are outreach projects, 5 or 6 principal investigators from 5 different places they will do. Next slide. There is another method of giving the timeline. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, this outreach project, this is for tenure of 15 years by different groups. Here, each objective is separate. Each color represents one PI. What are the specific objectives of each PI? How the each PI has done? This is another type of timeline. This is another type of timeline diagram for outreach projects, collective projects. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, the budget is very important. The budget is the heart of the proposal. Budget, you all the time keep in your mind. If the funding agency upper limit is 50 lakhs, I suggest you to give an exhaustive budget to your proposal. More than 50 lakhs. If they question you can get the exhaustive fund from another funding agency. That is called a negotiable task. I suggest you should have justification for each head what you quote in your budget. Next slide. So this is another budget what I proposed for my one of the DST project. So here there in the budget non-recurring, recurring consumables. There are 2 groups. Non-recurring, recurring. Recurring is having manpower and consumables. In the consumables, you are having other items B3, B4, contingency, travel, overhead, everything. While preparing this budget, you don't have the freedom to prepare your own budget. While you are quoting for equipment, you need to get quotations of 3 different companies approved by your university or institutional authority. Central Purchase Committee authority. Otherwise, you don't get. Nowadays, most of the funding agencies are not giving the equipment for youngsters and for unless it is an outreach project. So, while quoting these, one should be very careful. We have to produce 3 copies of quotations from 3 different companies and approved by Central Purchasing Committee of your home institute, mother institute. Then come to the recurring. While you are going for the manpower, you should, what type of, you want a JRF, you want SRF or PDF. It also varies with the funding agency. Each funding agency has its own norms and rules. Accordingly, we have to quote. So here also we don't have the freedom. Accordingly, we have to frame this one. The next come to the chemicals and solvents and glassware. This is usually for scientific one. Instead of here, if for arts students, instead of this part, you will get the questionnaire. You will get the questionnaire and survey. I always suggest you, if you are proposing a proposal for 50 lakhs, 40% will be allotted to these consumables. 40% of your proposal budget should be to the consumables. So, other items like travel, already I told you, if the funding agency has feasibility for giving air travel, then only you fail for air travel. But confine your travel expenses only to 5% of your proposal budget. 5%. Contingency about 15%. And overhead appliances, it varies from rules of institute to institute and funding agency to funding agency. You should get required documents from your mother institute. The overhead expenses, what are the things we can do with that overhead expenses? For uplifting the laboratories, facelifting of the laboratories, or paying rent or salary to the electricity bills and all the things. It varies from institute to institute. Here also we don't have the freedom to quote the amount. Generally, it varies from 10% to 15% overhead according to the institute and the rank of the institute and the university. Here also we don't have the freedom. You just remember 5% of your budget allotted to the travel and 15% to the contingency, 40% to the consumables, and the total budget like this. So 40, 15, 55. The remaining 45 is not in your hands because it is according to the rules of the institute by overhead and according to the price quotation and the central purchasing committee of the equipment. So that is not in your hand. That is why you quote an exhaustible budget by keeping this in your mind so that you will get a very good grand chart. Next slide. Next slide. The 13th column is annex. Here, this is also very important. Most of the proposals are having this annex. You have your cover page, your university endorsement page, and your quotations, the quotations of your equipment, your questionnaires, your domestic area, permissions from domestic area, permission from other institutes which are going to give help to you, and include supporting document necessary for the readers. You already have some work, fruitful work in your earlier career. The document should be there, which gives weightage to the proposal. So he has some stuff to do the further proposal. So those documents, what are the existing research outputs of you, have to be incorporated in the annexures. You will often refer to your audience throughout the proposal, giving readers a chance to flip to them, read them over. So means while you are writing your proposal, you should compulsorily refer the as in Annexure 1, as in Annexure 2, as in Annexure 3, so that the reviewer is forced to look into the Annexure and realize how much capable and potential this particular investigator to carry out this project. This is one of the technique one has to adopt. Most of the researchers nowadays are missing this annexure, which is having your potentials in the form of annexures. Your awards, your rewards, your previous projects, your outcomes, your patents, your all the things should reflect in the annexures. Next slide. Yeah. Before closing the session, I want to give some closing advice, which is not to the research proposal. As a researcher to all other researchers, as a teacher to all other teachers, as a colleague of you all, I give one. Basically, being the Indians, being the South Indians, most of them, we feel shy to ask something to somebody. Nothing is wrong to say that I don't know. Some feel ashamed, embarrassed. I want to have this much amount of money to carry my research. We have that feeling of embarrassment. First of all, we should wipe off that feel of embarrassment for asking money, promoting ourselves. You should feel embarrassed to want money for purchasing a car to come to the institute, but should not feel embarrassed. I want 10,000 to purchase this chemical for doing this research. Your organization or your institute. Organization is also having some money for filing patents, for publishing papers, for going abroad. My dear colleagues, need not feel shame to ask the financier, to ask the granting committee, to ask money for doing your ideas realized, to fulfill your ideas. Often this feeling have more to do with our own insecurities. Because of this insecurity feeling, we feel that I may not be good in writing my proposal. I may not be good in expressing my thought to others. That's called a tone. The tone and style is not the barrier. Feeling embarrassment, the shyness for asking money is the barrier. Nothing to ask money for a good cause. If you are having trouble because of these hang-ups, all these hang-ups, the most important to keep in mind, Amma won't give anything unless you ask you. Mother won't give you anything unless you ask you. Nothing wrong to ask. Asking never hurts you. Giving or not giving may hurt you, but your asking never hurts you. So be bold, be humble for asking grant for a good cause. If you never ask for money, they will never give you money. No filling agent to give you money unless you ask them. If you keep quite silent, oh, he is a lethargy. He is a lethargic. He is very lazy. He does not need anything other than his monthly salary. So, moreover, it worsens your image in research field. So, keep on asking for the funds. Keep on asking for the funds so that you can get good funding. I wish you all good luck. I hope I can convey some of the message which is going to be fruitful in your future endeavors. Next slide. Thank you very much for your patience listening, my dear colleagues, and to the organizers for giving me a wonderful opportunity to speak what all the ideas I have in my mind to all of you. Have any queries, have any doubts, here I have given my personal phone number as well as my official mail IDs. Please do contact and I wish you all to get good grants for doing the research. Thank you very much.
The session is open for query.
I might take more minutes because it started late by 5 minutes. It's up to the 7 minutes. Maithili?
Ma'am, no problem.
Okay.
The next section is 11:45 only.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Any queries from anybody? Feel free to ask.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Gayatri from Avinash Institute.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We are applying for this TNSCST projects for MSc, ma'am. But we are not getting it. Maybe I don't know what is the drawback.
Drawback. So what is your area of research applying for that?
I'm basically a botany student and
Very
I'm
fine.
doing organic farming. Yeah.
Organic farming.
Yeah.
So, Ministry of Forest and Environment, you applied for that.
MOEF.
Am I right?
Okay.
Am
Okay.
I right? So, what is your designation?
Assistant professor.
Assistant professor.
Yes.
What is your topic of research in your PhD?
PhD, it is biology of cyanobacterial association with rice plants.
Yeah, nice. Okay. When did you apply for that?
Sorry, ma'am.
When did you apply for the project? The grant?
Ma'am, I have applied 2 or 3 times. Last time also I applied for the MSc project. for my MSc candidate.
MSc candidate, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Generally, MOEF gives projects to JRF, SRF, and PDF. Your manpower should be SRF, JRF, or PDF.
Okay. No, ma'am, I applied for TNSC.
Are you working in university?
Avinash Linga. Avinash Linga.
Avinash Linga Maheshwar. This is one of the good premier universities. Definitely.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Majority of the people are getting projects from UGC, Avinash Linga University. Think, while have you give any references, 4 or 5 research experts of references of your choice to the your project?
Okay.
One more thing I have forgotten to tell you. In your project, you give 4 references.
Okay.
4 expert names, expert addresses.
Okay.
Of your field. Because sometimes botany is a broad area. The field team, the task force team may not be fit into this. That is another problem.
Okay.
Another thing, the keyword in your title.
Okay.
Then give some 4 references because you are well versed with organic farming, cyanobacteria and rice. You might know 4 or 5 world-class experts or national experts in this particular field.
Okay.
So you give their names, their addresses. These are the references you give, so that the people, they will be selected as reviewer members, so that your problem will be solved. Sometimes some of the projects, 35% of projects are lapsed there only. The reviewer may not be suitable to our project. Because organic farming, you are from a conventional state university. Majority of the organic farming, agricultural farming, all these things under ICAR. Understand? Because I have to face the same problem when one of my PhD student applied for PDF. He done with the work with phosphate solubilizing bacteria. He mentioned his sub-area in agriculture.
Okay.
So when he was there for a presentation, he called for presentation. At the time of presentation, the first question they asked is, your background is regular BSc microbiology, MSc microbiology. You want to do agricultural impact on a large population because that is a professional, right? So, the basic sciences, we have some limitation. That is what I told you. That there is a limitation. There is a boundary line.
Okay.
So, I think my suggestion will give you some help. While you are writing the proposal, you give 4 or 5 references of known people who are well versed with it.
Yes,
that will find.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your suggestion.
Any other question? I could see some hands up for Maggie.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for the time. Thank you, madam, for the beautiful presentation. My name is Maggie, and I am an assistant professor from Department of English. Madam, will you please throw more light on dependent and independent variables?
Dependent and independent variables.
Yes, ma'am.
What is your PhD topic, madam?
Ma'am, I'm yet to do my PhD. Because of this lockdown, everything got stalled.
No, you have registered for your PhD?
Not yet. Not yet.
Then that's why you got the problem.
Yes.
In English. So somebody want to do the nature beauty, because I am not authoritative to talk about literature. I think you understand, Maggie.
Yes.
But with all my experience with research and research proposals, I can give some example. I think I can meet your need. We all know that Wordsworth is a nature's poet.
Yes.
Being an English Western professor, you know that. Wordsworth is a nature's poet, right? So, nature includes brooks, mountains, hills, hillocks, greenery.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Wordsworth poetry is dependent variable.
Okay.
If you want to do, in how many of his poems, in how many of his citations, he come across the brooks. how he compare a running water with knowledge? How he compare a running water with the smile of a beautiful lady? How many times? So the running water is our objective doing the proposal from the Wordsworth. This is independent variable.
Okay, ma'am.
If
Thank
you want this brook, some other literature fellow may do on mountains. Understand?
Yes.
The dependent variable, I think I reach you.
Yes.
Am I?
Yes.
Maggie?
Yes. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Do participants have any other questions? Ma'am, I think I could not see any more rising of hands also.
Okay.
So we can close the session, ma'am. Thank you for your expertise in writing proposals, and thank you for sharing all your expertise, ma'am.
I am very much thankful to you, Maithili, for your patience yesterday evening for doing the demo and all the things. Otherwise, I
Okay.
could not make it successful. Thank you very much, Amma. Thank you very much to
Thank
the
you so much.
organizers one again, making me a part in this virtual classes of 21 days. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank
Amma.
you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Nitya, ma'am, are you ready, ma'am?
Yeah, Maithili, yeah.
I think the guest is not arrived yet. I will ask him to come, ma'am, and then we can start.
Okay, Maithili, okay.
Oscar, sir? Sir? Sir, you joined, sir?
Yeah, yes, madam. So
Yes,
can
sir.
you hear me?
Sir, can we start the session, sir?
Yeah, okay, sure.
introduction from our faculty team and then we can start, sir.
Yeah, okay, ma'am. Okay.
Nitya ma'am.
Okay, Maithili, let me start. Okay. A very warm good morning to all the participants. I am Mrs. M. Nitya, Assistant Professor, Department of Biotechnology, K.S. Rangasamy College of Technology. So it's my immense pleasure to introduce today's chief guest of this session, Dr. X. Bhaskaran, sir. Dr. X. Bhaskaran has been qualified MSc, MPhil, PhD, and pursuing his postdoctoral fellow at School of Life Sciences, Sun Yat-sen University, Bia, China. He is having 5 years of research experience. To his research credential, he has published 27 research articles in peer-reviewed international journals, published 8 book chapters. He has given